Good morning, everyone. As you can kind of tell, it's somewhat of a cold and dreary morning here in Warsaw. Saturday morning, morning number 2, or actually morning number 3, full day number 2 of my trip. Today I'm doing the Warsaw Ghetto, and I think that's gonna comprise most of the morning and part of the afternoon. And then I might go see a movie this afternoon. I really want to see Civil War, Alex Garland's Civil War. Very curious to see a movie in Poland, what that's like. So, but yeah, to this morning, all about the Warsaw Ghetto and the uprising, and the Warsaw uprising a year later. So, first we're going to go to what they call the Umschlagplatz, I think is how you say it. It's the physical deportation site of Warsaw's Jews to Treblinka. I'm gonna start there, and then there's a path that I'm gonna follow. So I'm gonna take the tram and get going. Gonna have to get a coffee in between at some point. Okay, well, Google did not tell me to get off at the right spot. It didn't tell me to get off at all. So I'm gonna have to backtrack, walk it's about a 7-minute walk. It's fine. It's just a little chilly out here. We can go to Mackey's if we want to. No Mackey's. We're gonna keep going to Umschlagplatz. One thing to understand at the onset is there's not a lot left of the ghetto. Practically nothing. There's a few spots of the wall that was surrounding it left, but everything else was destroyed by the Nazis during the after the ghetto uprising, and then a lot of basically what was remaining in Warsaw the next year was pretty much destroyed. There wasn't much left standing. Ironically enough, there is a synagogue that survived, that I'm planning on seeing. It's on the list. So yeah, what we see here, I mean, this is really basically going to be in these large socialist era apartment complexes after the war. The Soviets and later the Soviet-backed Polish government didn't particularly care about commemorating that much, although there is a memorial put up in 1948 for the uprising that we'll see. But yeah, they just rebuilt over the top of it. A lot of times they use the rubble in the construction of the new buildings. Almost at the beginning of Nazi occupation of Warsaw in 1939, they undertook to build a ghetto here, and they forced all of Warsaw's Jewish population into this ghetto. About 300,000 people lived in about a 3 square kilometer area, and Jews from all over the rest of Poland, parts of Lithuania, Latvia, Jews from all over Eastern Europe were brought here. And then this location right here is what they call the Umschlagplatz, which quite literally means like transportation hub or like transportation center. It was from here that 300,000 Jews were transported to Treblinka and then murdered. I can't tell you the feeling of being here. Like, they've listed common Jewish last names on this memorial here, and as you can see, there's an English what says, along this path of suffering and death, over 300,000 Jews were driven in 1942 to 43 from the Warsaw Ghetto to the gas chambers of the Nazi extermination camps. The site is powerful. And we're gonna take this path of remembrance together. And I hope you get something out of this. So in 1943, there was, you know, the deportations had been ongoing, and at that point, there was approximately 55 to 75,000 Jewish people still living in the Warsaw Ghetto. And the leaders of the area were ordered to liquidate it. In other words, to ship everyone out from here to be murdered. The uprising lasted about a month and cost about 8,000 Jewish lives. About 20,000 of the remaining people living here escaped and aided the Polish resistance, and the remainder were deported and murdered. And today this is just your standard, you know, living area. Nice little gardens and parks. It looks like maybe they're doing some archaeological work out here. Things they found from the ghetto. Yeah. During archaeological work conducted by the Warsaw Ghetto Museum in the summer of 2022, researchers found several thousand artifacts, including religious items, fragments of Jewish prayer books, and vessels for ritual hand washing. They also reached the buried cellars of 19th century tenements destroyed during the Warsaw Ghetto uprising. My plan is to go into the Warsaw Ghetto Museum toward the end, I believe. And this is what this area looked like. Here's the museum. We're right here. So I guess the stones aren't borders to the ghetto. They're just remembrances in the ghetto. This is the location where the ZOB, the Jewish Combat Organization, organized and ran the uprising. This was the basement. What's here now is rubble from the buildings that were here, that they piled up here. The ZOB they were able to inflict heavy casualties on the SS and the Wehrmacht, the German army. And they knew what they were doing was hopeless. They knew they weren't going to win, but they did it anyway. I suppose they would rather die on their feet than live a few days longer in a cattle car or in a death camp. I don't know, I can't even imagine the thought process of anything going on here. of living in this zone of death, this zone of unreality. It's amazing to me. I just, the courage that it took, not just for these people, but for everybody who died, the courage that it took. Yeah, I don't have words. All of the yellow flowers you see and all of the bouquets and things are because yesterday was the 81st anniversary of the uprising. I was going to do this yesterday, but I didn't. Just so you know, I just realized I didn't take my earbuds out, but I wasn't listening to music. I was listening to the directions on how to get here. I haven't been listening to music. All right, now we're headed to the main uprising memorial. I'm not sure what this one is for. It's not on my map. It's kind of oddly placed in between this building, in between these two buildings, or I guess it's part of the building. I'm not sure what this is. Let's see if I can find. All right, it says it's the Izumel Uzelm Zagilbaum. I'm sure I'm butchering that name. Memorial. I'm gonna have to look that up, see what it is. Okay, so Zmuel Zagilbaum, I am butchering that name, was a Polish politician who was killed in May 1943, or he died in May 1943 in London. So so he had managed to escape to London. So yeah, I guess this is for him. It says he was a Polish socialist politician, boon to trade union activist, and a member of the National Council of Polish Government in Exile. Interesting. All right, so this is the Uprising Museum, which I'm planning on going to. It just doesn't open till 10. I didn't realize it was over here. I don't know why I didn't realize that, but I didn't. Hindsight, I might have started the opposite direction, but we'll just wait around and we'll go to this one. It opens at 10. Actually, I think this is the Poland Museum, the Jewish Museum. I wasn't intending on going in here. I want to double check to make sure. I wasn't intending on going in here because I really like the Jewish Museum in Berlin, and this one costs money to get into, and I don't know. But I think this is the Poland Museum. Yeah, so okay, this is on the grounds of Poland, P-O-L-I-N, the Poland Museum. It was built in 1948, so it's one of the first memorials that I can think of. The Soviet memorial in Treptow was built in 1945, but this was an early memorial, especially to the Ghetto uprising. It was sculpted by Nathan Rappaport. I remember reading when W.E.B. Du Bois came here and saw this, and I think he came in the early 50s, maybe 53, 54. He said that it reminded him that we're all connected through suffering. And the suffering of slavery, of American slaves, of American blacks is tied together with suffering of Jewish people. So all of these memories are entwined and complement each other, I guess is the right word. But yeah, this is very powerful. I mean, this is a very 1940s, late 40s memorial, very representing strength and power and the glory of the people. It's 9:44, 9:45. I haven't had coffee. I haven't had breakfast of any kind. I really need to see if I can find like a coffee shop and just sit down for a little bit. I'm gonna do a lot more resting today, I think. My legs are really tired. This was 1946, but I can't read it. I'm going to pull out the Google Translate. I was looking on GPS My City, which didn't really like the Praga tour. This one's a little bit better, but I was looking on it, and I was going to go to the Jewish Historical Institute, but it's Saturday, it's closed. So I think now, instead of doing that, we'll head to the Nozick Synagogue. It's 1.6 kilometers. It's a long way to walk. I might see if I can grab a scooter and do that, because I'm telling you, I'm really, my calves are like on fire. This is quite a lovely neighborhood. I love the trees and the green. We are back in what looks to be downtown. Got some big buildings. I might just wait till 11 and then get lunch. And I really want to do a milk bar for lunch, so I may just wait till 11 and do that. At this point, why not? Okay, so this is the Nozick Synagogue. It was the only pre-war Jewish place of worship in Warsaw to survive. It was built in the 19th century. There were over 400 synagogues and houses of prayer in Warsaw. It was designed by architect Karol Kozlowski, and who also designed the Warsaw Philharmonic Orchestra. I can't seem to find a way to get to the front though. There's just no direct access right now. Maybe because it's Saturday. Maybe you can go in on another day of the week when it's open. I'm not sure, but it is not open today. Maybe I spoke too soon. Oh, no, it's locked. But this is it. I've never actually been in a synagogue. I wish I could go in. All right, now we head to the Janusz Korczak monument.
Head west.
Of course, it starts raining when I take off my hat. I feel like it's some sort of natural law that if I get close to this building right here, it has to start raining. It's kind of weird. So this memorial is for Janusz Korczak, who is who was a well-known author of children's books, and he ran an orphanage for Jewish kids, and he was given the opportunity to leave, to flee Warsaw, and he refused. And he went with his children, what he considered his children, the children from the orphanage, to Treblinka. Forgive me. That choked me up. Selflessness. Complete selflessness. That hit me hard. Of all of the things I've seen today, this memorial for Janusz hit me the hardest.